You're listening to The RealWealth Show with Kathy Fedke, the real estate investor's resource.
I am so excited for today's show because we have the OGs here on the RealWealth Show. 3 of our first employees at RealWealth Network who are going to give you the dirt on how we got started. Wow, the obstacles that we've run into over the years, how we grew and scaled. In fact, Rich and I are going to be writing a book on how to scale very soon. So some of that information will be here. I'm Kathy Fedke. Welcome to the RealWealth Show. Today I have Kelley Pecoraro here. Hello, Kelley.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Maggie used to be Pike, now McKinnie. Welcome.
Hi.
And Jill Bennis, who many of you know from our events, and just probably anyone who's been involved with RealWealth knows all of these beautiful women because they've been here for a really long time. So let's start with Kelley. Kelley, you were our first employee at, well, not even employee, contractor.
Right.
You were the first face on our org chart. That wasn't our face. Meaning Rich and I had an org chart and all the jobs he kind of walked me through how you run a real business, and you have an org chart and you just have to put your face on all the roles until you can replace yourself.
Right.
With someone who does it better. And one thing I was certainly not good at was bookkeeping. So when we met, would you say when was that?
It was 2008.
Okay. And was it so bad that I just brought you a shoebox of receipts? Was it that bad or was it worse?
It was a box. It was a box of receipts. It was not worse. No. And as a contract bookkeeper, I had seen worse. So it was
Thankfully. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we were pretty small back then. Today, how would you say your job has changed since those early days?
Oh my gosh.
Like how many entities are you juggling?
Yeah, it is. It has changed a lot. So I don't do as much bookkeeping anymore. So I do have a bookkeeper, which I'm really grateful for. And I manage more of the, like you said, of the multiple entities that we manage. So it's really more of a management role as opposed to specific accounting and bookkeeping.
Yeah, director of finance. It's a very different job. And, you work with our CFO. It's an interim CFO who will just kind of go over all the books and make sure we're not overspending, not growing ourselves broke. And you've been just instrumental working with our legal team to make sure that we're compliant. I mean, HR, my gosh, Kelley, I'm so sorry. I think you need your own org chart.
It is. It's all the back of the what you'd call the back of the house, right?
Yeah.
It's working on the business. And so I have a lot of great contractors that I'm really grateful for. We get a lot of great support and really great advice. And I'm grateful to all of them. And they're really great people to work with.
Yeah, it's having a person you can trust with your finances it's hard to find, and we're so grateful. So, and you also have seen us grow from you to then our next employee was Maggie. Yeah. Yes, welcome, Maggie.
Hi. That's good.
Well, we were starting to do events back in 2008 when the ground was falling out of the U.S. economy, and we actually were trying to figure out how to survive in that earthquake. We also knew that there were lots of foreclosures coming online and that investors wanted to buy those. We were putting on events. So I had been super unsuccessful hiring people in the years prior. Didn't know how to do it, was kind of scared. But I thought, well, we'll just put out an ad. Let's see. It was 2009. So there were so many people looking for work. We had CEOs out of work, and I put one ad saying, I'm just looking for an assistant, someone to help me with events. And we got absolutely inundated with thousands of resumes. And I just looked at Rich. I'm like, what do I do? I don't know how to sift through these. And he's like, just look for people that are local. And that'll weed out a lot. And that did. We got us down to a few hundred. And then it was like, well, they need to have some real estate experience. And that got it down to another, 100. And finally, I'm like, I know, I'll just tell people to come to our upcoming event and then we can meet them there and see if they actually show up. And what was it, Maggie? Like 2 or 3 people showed up?
Yeah. I think there was like 2 or 3 people who had also showed up for the position specifically at that event. And yeah, I was one of them.
And I'm like, that girl, I want her.
Yeah. There was an interview afterwards, but yeah, that got my foot in the door for sure.
Yeah. So just
show up.
A lesson out there, just show up. Yeah. Just do what it takes to stand out. And I later found out that you were intuitive enough to know that I might look for someone local.
Yep.
And you used your brother's address.
Yep. I used one of my best friend lived in San Ramon. I used her parents' address. It's just like, I don't live in the Bay Area yet. I lived at the time in a little town called Red Bluff. That's about 3 hours north of the Bay Area. I had some real estate experience. I worked at the front desk at a RE/MAX office in Red Bluff. And I was just looking for another job, applying to anything and everything on Craigslist. My background was not in real estate. It was in art history. And I just needed to pay rent. So I was like, let's figure this out.
She's like, whatever this is, I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the interesting thing, right? Like originally it was like, I need to pay rent. Let's just get this real estate job. And then I'll get to the Bay Area and then I'll like do something artsy related. And 14 years later, I'm still hanging out. So, I mean, that's a testament to, it was a good company, a good position. I gained a lot from it. So
what was that like coming into a real estate company in 2009 when real estate was crashing everywhere?
I was oblivious. I didn't know what that meant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I guess this is real estate. I knew that it was rough. From in RE/MAX, like a lot of the other agents in the office were doing like short sales and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, what's a short sale? Why are you doing it that way? And so, you know what I mean? Just like not regular, just like buying houses or things would just be sitting there for a long time. So it's like my hours were part-time there just because they weren't selling anything. Like it was just, so I knew, it was like a rough time, but you know, my experience in it, was more from an administrative point of view. And I was like, oh, cool. Someone's hiring me to like, whatever.
to do whatever. And I had no idea how to train you. Right around 2009, the radio show, my RealWealth show got listened to by somebody in Australia.
Yep.
And they knew that real estate in the US was on sale by like 75%. And the Australian dollar had doubled in value compared to the US dollar. So Australians could buy US real estate for like 10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Somebody heard my show, flew me out. And I was suddenly standing in front of a room of 1,000 Australians just throwing money at me, like, here, take $500,000 and invest. I mean, no, we don't, that's not how it works. You don't give me any money. But, you know, we can help you. We can introduce you to teams across the country who are buying these foreclosures and renovating them and renting them out, which was really the pre-turnkey world. It hadn't really been developed yet because it was just literally the floor was falling out of the U.S. economy. So when I came back from that trip and you had just been hired, I think we had Australians showing up at the door like that week.
Yeah. No, they were, it was crazy. Like, it was kind of like nuts. Like people calling me like, I'm coming over there right now. And it's like, oh, okay,
I'm at your door.
Figure that out. Like, we came up with a whole process of tours and getting into all the different markets that we had at the time. I don't remember who it was at the time, but we just kind of figured out, you know, referrals for their entity structures, because a lot of them were using their super funds, which were like their IRAs or retirement accounts. And so, just kind of figuring it out as they came over. Because, that was like probably, I don't know, like 80% of the clients at the time were like Australians for that year or so.
And they were crazed. I mean, you all of a sudden were thrown into booking bus tours and in Kansas City. We were doing a city a day. That was probably my bad there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Figured out the logistics for them. It was just like, okay, you need to get from Kansas City to Cleveland to Memphis to this one to that, and all the, you know, whichever cities we were doing. And it was just kind of like, we need to give them a day to get there. Just do back to back.
Oh, and sometimes we did.
They wanted to, right? Like they were like, we're out here for a week. We want to see everything. So it's like, All right.
Okay, so tell me your best Australian story, because you would go on these tours with these people and they were wild.
Yeah, they were fun. I mean, really, like my favorite like Australian stories were just like people coming. I mean, they were like fun, nice people. We'd take them out to lunch and we'd like get to know them. And
How about the guy that you couldn't find? He was lost in the bar scene in Memphis.
I vaguely remember something about that.
He's like on the bus tour, and I think you guys found him like doing a headstand in a bar, drinking a beer upside down, something like that.
That sounds right. That sounds right. They were nutty.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So then we were really growing faster than we could handle, and I was really scared to hire again and fail. And boy, we had some interesting one. I think there was one person who I was helping with events who, in her signature, also was offering other services that maybe we don't want to talk about. So one of our investors say, you might want to look into this. Anyway, so I was real nervous. And Maggie, you're like, okay, well, we've got this thing called the internet. I'll just find out what you do to hire the right people. And you came up with a really great method. What was that?
To ask funny questions, which at the time was to ask, what's your spirit animal? So people had to ask that, and Jill responded.
And so, we had Jill Benez. Jill, welcome. Hello. You answered the ad when we were at that point growing. What year was that you came on?
It was December of 2013. So we'll just consider it 2014.
Okay. All right. And by then, I was on the news a lot. I think it started where I was on CNBC in Australia, and that, oh my gosh, that just brought more people and more international buyers who wanted, U.S. real estate on sale, and we needed help. And you came in, Rich and I just happened to be in town for an event. We're like, let's just interview people now while we're here. I think it was very last minute. Same thing. Like, let's just see who shows up. And we fell in love with you the moment we saw you riding your bike in a little blue work dress to the office, and Rich was like her. But then when
I forgot about that.
I remember that.
And her little mini dress, blue dress, so cute. And but then the question was, what's your spirit animal? And as I recall, when Maggie did the research on this, it was to ask a question that would throw somebody off to see if they could answer it, and just to see how they do. So like, we didn't really care what your spirit animal was.
I did think it was weird. I was like, okay, well, whatever. I guess I was going to answer it.
and what did you say?
Hummingbird.
A hummingbird. And it was the perfect answer. If anybody asks you that in an interview, say that. Because I think it was, she's like, they work hard and they're resilient. And what else? Happy. And everybody loves them. They're fast.
I work quickly and I work with a good attitude, and I just love life. And
And that all turned out to be true.
That's perfect. I'm going to use that next time.
So Kelley, we'll come back to you. And looking back over the years, and what would you say are the highlights in the growth of RealWealth? The things that were really turning points or that stand out.
I would say when I think back on the office, when we had, more than 2 or 3 people in the office, when there were actually a handful of us in different offices, and we could go and, actually sit down and work through something together as opposed to, on the phone. It was always fun to have, more people in the office to work with.
I love that you said that. We've been a remote company now for, probably 13 years. I don't know, maybe 10 years. And a lot of people, are now looking at that, right, and experiencing it for the first time. And I love that you said that, the highlight was when we weren't remote, when we were actually together.
Yeah, I was working remotely actually as a contractor at that time anyway. So I loved coming into the office so I could get out of the house. Because back then, before the pandemic, obviously, when nobody was used to doing that, I was like, well, I'm in my house all day. I'm going to go and work with those people because they're fun. And now, we all had to get used to that, working from home and continuing to be remote. But now I'm just so grateful and can look forward to when we do all get together as a company. And that's just a highlight for me when we all do get together.
And a little plug, we have a live event coming up October 6th and 7th, and it's really partly an excuse for us all to be together. And we'll have our company retreat. We do an annual retreat. That'll be the next day on the 8th. But yeah, we would love to see our members too. So if you haven't checked that out, we have our live event coming up. Like I said, October 6th it's our 20-year anniversary event. That's the big news. And we'll have our whole team there. They're all flying out. We'll have all of our property teams flying out to the LA area. On Friday night, we'll have a little cocktail party for people who can come early. On Saturday, this is all by LAX, by the way, so you could just fly in and it's right at a hotel by the airport. And then on Saturday, we'll have each team present for about 20 minutes on their market, what's really hot about their market, what the rental demand is, and so forth. You can get an overview on that. And then Saturday night is going to be a party for our 20th anniversary. Rich and I will be there in sparkles. I want to make sure people know that. It's going to be dressy. We are going to be sparkly.
Oh, so I can go get a dress, right?
Yes, you can dress up for sure for that.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see everybody and have everybody together. Okay, Maggie, highlight for you over the almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah, 14 years, man.
Yeah.
That's like a significant period of time.
Yeah.
Highlights. I mean, especially from like the office days, like before this, I was trying to like reminiscent on and I like miss the funny story is like when we used to do Christmas parties in the office and just like how like they were funny because not just the like office like staff Christmas party, but we'd do like client Christmas parties. And it was always this funny mix of like, very like buttoned up real estate guys who want to come in and network and talk, and then you have a woo-woo side of you. And so I remember one year we had like these very buttoned up kind of guys making like bath crystals or something like in the office. Like I think you had like Tamara or one of your friends like come to the office, and we're all just like, there's just like not the like I make my own bath crystal kind of crowd, like just in there like putting their little essential oils in and stuff. It was just like it was kind of like funny like. This dichotomies.
As I recall, one of them was bald, and Tamara comes over and rubs
massage.
Yeah, gave him a head massage with the essential oils. I'm like, oh, this is either good or bad. I don't know.
Funny. I was just like, this is the freaking weirdest thing. But I felt like that was like very like us, like very like button down real estate. And if you want the information, we got the information. But there's also a side of weirdo in there. So
gotta have it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, these memories make me want to have an office again, you guys. Oh, man, I miss you. Okay. Jill, what about you?
Oh man. I mean, I'm just thinking, it took me a long time to realize like it was okay to let my hair down just enough, because coming from corporate world, and I was just always like, are you sure it's okay for me to like relax and like have a good time? And like, yes, that's one thing that makes this company just so unique. It's just the ability to just be, a little weird. and oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful for every experience I've had with you guys. But oh my gosh, one thing that really sticks out for me is seeing other people and hearing their stories of how much this company has changed their life, how their experience is investing in real estate. Being with the company as long as I've been able to have that time has passed since they've come in the door, and since enough time has passed where I've gotten to see it actually make a difference in their life, and hearing their stories later, it's been so cool just watching their lives change. Some people just talk the talk, but like RealWealth, it makes me feel proud to work here, because seeing and hearing the stories of people that having their lives change, and then coming to the events and like just getting to hug all these people, and I'm a hugger, so I really love to hug people, and our members are, being able to have that connection with people. I've never had that being anywhere else. So I don't know if it's just one specific thing I can pinpoint. It's just the whole experience of us is just so unique.
Oh,
That's great. I love that.
yeah. And Jill was really the front face of the events for a long time, along with Maggie. And you guys both just know so many of our early investors who took a risk at a time when, there was an earthquake in real estate, really is what it felt like. We didn't know where the bottom was. People were going into neighborhoods that were all boarded up and, buying these old homes, and we would fix them up and restore neighborhoods one house at a time. And it took a lot of risk. And in some cases, it didn't go as well as other cases because certain neighborhoods didn't come back as quickly as others. It was a really interesting time. But overall, the people that invested and trusted the plan, which is to, start with one, right? Just start with one, get that understanding, and then get to a point where ideally you have 10 properties in a portfolio that you're paying off, either by taking all the cash flow and paying one off, or maybe not you're not in a hurry to pay off, so you refinance and go get more. But for those early investors, the plan was 10 properties paid off. And we have so many, as you said, Jill, so many people who did that plan and just took all the cash flow and just one by one paid off the home, so that in 12 years they had 10 homes paid off. And that either completely covered their retirement or significantly added to it, because you could do the traditional retirement plan that will just get you so far, but you need that extra. And that's what we saw. It is, I agree with you. It's so exciting to have this many years into it and see the results.
Yeah, from like their first event, they come there and they're all like kind of like nervous, and then just see them later. It's just
yeah,
it's awesome.
Well, I want our audience to know this is just 3 of a group of nearly 20 within RealWealth, but you are the OGs, like I said, the original gangsters that have been around since the beginning and have seen the growing pains. There have been hard times. There have been teams, people that we shouldn't have trusted, that I trusted, and over the years we just got better and better and learned from our mistakes. And you've been here through all of that, continually improving the process so that more and more people can have hope in their future, hope in their retirement through real estate. So I wanted the world to see who you are. Yay. And wanted to publicly thank you.
Aww. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Kathy, because if it's not for this podcast, I wouldn't learn so much about real estate, and I would have been able to buy my own house. So it all comes around.
I love that, Jill. Thank you. Thank you. Jill, for many people who don't know, we've moved. We don't want anyone to ever leave the company. And if a job isn't working out, and Kelly, I am looking at you. Kelly thinks she's going to retire, and we're like, we'll see about that. But, if somebody got bored with a job or, just it wasn't working out, it's like, wait, let's just find another department. And it was somewhere along the line. I had no idea that Jill had a background in music and editing. And so anyway, we transitioned her out of events into, doing both really, to editing. So Jill is the reason the podcast works. And she is our wonderful editor.
Well,
thank you.
Hey.
And
I wouldn't be
producer.
here if it wasn't for Maggie. So
That's right. And Maggie has moved around into all sorts of positions within the company too.
I know. I felt like that comment was very targeted. If you get bored, we'll move you somewhere else.
Well, and people should always be learning and growing.
Yep. I've held several positions all over the board.
Well, that's one of our core values, right? This mastery.
Yep.
And so we support each other in learning and growing. And that's just one of the many things I love about RealWealth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've always appreciated the opportunity to try my hand at something else, whether it was the events or we used to have the Investor Academy, doing the educational stuff for a while, syndications for a while, and now just kind of these kind of special projects.
That's because you're a new mama.
It's true.
Yeah, and congratulations on that. Yeah,
Thanks.
we love that you can have the flexibility to stay with us and raise a baby.
Yep.
Who's adorable.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Well, thank you, Jill, Maggie, Kelly, for being here on the Real Wealth Show and for all you do for our Real Wealth listeners and members.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on the Real Wealth Show. We would love to see you at our upcoming 20-year anniversary event. Again, you can find out about that at realwealthshow.com. Just go to the Connect tab and you'll see the drop down for events. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as an offer to buy or sell any securities or to make or consider any investment or course of action. For more information, go to realwealthshow.com.